If you're having a good day, I want to welcome you back to my channel. And today we have the second part of Steve Fambro talking about what he did when he was younger. And in this part, he's talking about, what he learned from his experience as far as going corporate and what he would talk about if he could go back and talk to his younger self. All right, so let's get into it. So yeah, we're gonna talk about how Steve Frambo and welcome back to my channel. You guys are awesome. Just want to listen to the second part of this where Steve Frambo is talking on this podcast, and he's talking about what he learned and how that helped him out so much, and how he is actually going to what he would tell himself if he could go back in the past and talk about that. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's
Turning the page on your entrepreneurial perhaps a path for a bit, because here you were working really on the other side, more on the investment side perhaps. You really got an insight into how you deal with what you can control and what you cannot control. Can you share that with us?
As I mentioned earlier, after the dissolution of Aptera, I began sort of soul searching and trying to understand, what I could have done better. Why is the universe this way, or maybe even for a moment, even playing the victim. And that's when I discovered Stoicism and Stoic philosophy, which I've been a passionate follower of since. But really, what that then helped me discover was the idea of emotional intelligence and the study of emotional intelligence, how much work that's being done on that. And a lot of the basic tenets of emotional intelligence are grounded in Stoicism. And so it turns out that today, one of the single most determining factors of a person's success in the workplace is their level of emotional intelligence. And I think that's fascinating because on one hand, it's so critical. And on the other hand, it's not taught in schools. It's not taught in the home. It's not taught in the churches. It's not really taught anywhere. And so I think some people have studied it and developed it. And there's even tests where you can screen, potential employees or help train them, et cetera. But we don't have this global national understanding of how important emotional intelligence it is. And so I've made it sort of one of the things that I'll stand on my soapbox about, and that we'll integrate into Aptera, just so that we can create an environment where people love to be there, where they like to get along with each other, where they understand boundaries and respect limits, without the tyranny of enforcement, but simply by recognizing that this is the best way to interact with your fellow human beings. I recognize that also in the developing parts of the world, as I mentioned, that I think a lot of people, because they're not so connected or shackled to technology like we are, they actually have a better read on human beings in negotiating. You're sitting across the table from someone and you're looking at their face, you're watching their emotions and actions. I think people in the highly developed Western countries like the United States or Western Europe, we're the worst at it. We're terrible negotiators. We are so uncomfortable. We were so addicted to speaking and technology that we can't even stand a 15-second or 30-second pause in a negotiation when the other party stops talking and just remains silent for 30 seconds. It drives Westerners crazy. They lose their mind. They're almost willing to sign any deal at that point. but it's a common tactic throughout the rest of the world. And so these were some of the things that I learned while doing deals overseas.
So then you come back. You decide it's time to pack the bags there in Abu Dhabi, and you return back to California. And definitely, something sparked the interest to pick up the phone, call Chris, your original co-founder in Aptera, and explore what's possible. So what triggered that?
Well, I mean, Chris and I, we're like brothers. We're brothers from another mother. We're both from the South. We have the same sensibilities. He's as opposite as me in many ways. He's a finance guy. He's more gregarious and outgoing. I'm an engineer. I'm more reserved. As a management team, we have this synergy between us that makes us really greater than just two people. And so we work really well together and make sure that we don't drop things. Well, so we never really lost touch. We always stayed in touch through the years. And he knew I was coming back. I got settled and we had a barbecue or something. We were talking about this, and he mentioned that some of the IP was available, and he was thinking that maybe we should look into securing it. And so we said, well, why would we do this? Why would we even restart the idea of an electric car company with Tesla being so popular? So I did some MATLAB calculations and began reviving the old models with some of the newer energy densities, and because I haven't thought about it since we left the company, because I thought it was just a part of my life that was over. But once we started thinking about it again and looking at the numbers, it was really compelling. It was more compelling than it was 10 years ago, because now people have accepted electric vehicles and they want them. But we recognize that the cost is really primarily determined by the amount of batteries, and also the range is determined by that too. And those are the two main factors that drive the sales. So if we could control those and increase the range and reduce the cost of the batteries by needing fewer of them, then I thought we would have a very compelling business plan. And so we decided to do it. Haven't looked back.
So then you got back again with Aptera, and what was that process like? I mean, did you guys have to purchase back the assets? So I mean, what was the process of really getting Aptera back up?
We reacquired some of the IP, but really it was a start from scratch with sort of the tribal knowledge, that we could remember, and developing new knowledge along the way. So we made lots of improvements, at a very technical level, things like the body and the assembly and that kind of stuff. We made a lot of improvements of what we had when we left the company. But a lot of the engineers that were involved, they had moved on, but they still wanted to be a part of the new Aptera. And so even to this day, we have people, one guy that left SpaceX to come work for us. We have former employees that are employed at other EV companies that are leaving to come back to us, just because they are so passionate about this and believe that this is the right way to do it. And also they believe it's a story that's unfinished, and they want to help write the story. They want to help make sure it's a success.
So for the people that are listening, I mean, how would you describe, what's the new Aptera? I mean, what kind of vehicles are you guys putting together?
Well, the primary difference between the old Aptera and the new Aptera is that we're a solar electric vehicle. And the solar power and solar integration of the cells into the body and the electronics, and how that is stored into the battery pack, is part of our new DNA. It's part of our new IP. And it's part of our IP such that every vehicle that we make will have this. Every vehicle that we make, there's a product pipeline beyond the vehicle that you see now. Every vehicle we make will have the benefit of lightweight, low drag aerodynamics, which means the solar cells can actually help move the needle. They can actually help add an appreciable amount of range to the vehicle. So I'd say the primary difference is the old Aptera was, we were arguing, our board said, well, we have to have a hybrid, we have to have a gas power. And Chris and I were both, no, it has to be all electric, because that's the future. And so that we're already splitting our resources at that time that were just setting us up for failure. So now there's laser focus. We are only an electric vehicle company. That's all we'll ever be, because that's the future. And on top of it, we're a solar electric vehicle company, because we're so efficient that we can actually save 20, 30, maybe up to 40 miles a day into the battery just by being parked in the sun. So most people we'll probably never have to charge it or charge it that often. So it's a huge improvement in quality of life. It's a reduction of batteries. It's more efficient, more affordable per mile. It's just better in so many ways.
So for the company, how much capital have you guys raised to date? And maybe we can count on what the old Aptera also had raised.
Yeah, so the old Aptera, I forget how many tranches we had in the old Aptera, but when Chris and I left, we handed over the keys. I think we had raised almost $50 million at the time. And I think there was about 20 million in the bank or so when we left. To date for new Aptera, we've raised just about $6 million, and we're starting our next round in March, which is a Reg A+. It's a different kind of financing. It allows for private investment and also crowdfunding, or crowd financing, crowd investment, I should say. And we intend to raise about $50 million in that round. So we're going from 6 to 50 with this next round. We're looking at some other alternatives. Of course, everybody is SPAC crazy today, and we've been approached, and we've got a team of people that are helping us evaluate our options with that. At a basic level, we have the Reg A+ that starts that launches in March, and that provides the financing to actually get us in production.
Nice. So I guess imagine if you were going to sleep tonight and you wake up in a world where the vision of Aptera is fully realized. What does that look like?
I tell you, it doesn't look like our trip yesterday. We drove up to Los Angeles to have a business meeting. Chris and I did in the world's most popular electric vehicle, but we had to stop and charge twice, and that's not a bad thing. You can stop and maybe take a meeting or eat or something like that. But in an Aptera, we'd be able to go up and back on one charge. I think we might even be able to go up to San Francisco and back in one charge. So I think what it's going to be for most people who wake up and Apteras everywhere is that you're not going to have to plug in your car all the time. Your car is going to be topped off by the sun. It's going to be extremely fast. It's going to be efficient. It's going to cost you less, which means you're paying less per month in the payment for your car. And it's just going to look like the future. It's not going to look like a bunch of regular vehicles that have been converted to electric. It's going to look like what people think electric vehicles should look like, shapes that are driven by efficiency. And that efficiency saves you money and makes you go further.
Do you think that we are entering into a new era where every single vehicle is going to be electric?
I think so. Oil has lots of positive attributes. It is energy dense. It's used for plastics. You might say it's a better use for oil, for plastics and things. Maybe that could be reused and recycled rather than just burned like in oil. And I think environmentally, people are just coming around to the fact, even very traditional people, that burning this stuff to move around it's just not a good idea. And there's going to be some places where it's still allowed, but that shouldn't be used as an excuse for inaction. In fact, I think it should make us double down and help bring about the change much quicker, because I think the whole world benefits when we move to electric powertrains and all the vehicles. And there's so many areas in the emerging economies, I should say, where they're just blessed with bountiful sun, and yet they're importing diesel fuel and gasoline to run, tuk-tuks and other two-stroke vehicles up and down the roads and polluting the air and polluting the ground. And there's just no excuse for it. We can do better than that. And I think the integrated solar technology with lightweight vehicles and aerodynamics is a way to do that. And electrification is the key.
So imagine now, Steve, I'm able to take you into this time machine, and we have the possibility of going back in time. We go back in time to that moment where you got together with Chris and you guys were thinking about launching a business, your first business. Imagine where that younger self actually listens, because when we're younger, we don't really tend to listen that much. But imagine that younger Steve actually listens, and you have the opportunity to give that younger Steve one piece of business advice. What would that be and why before launching the business based on what you know now?
I would say read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, understand it, and find some senior sage people, executives who also understand that and that can help guide you, that are on your side. They're not board members appointed by investors or independent advisors, that they're in your camp. They're there to guide you and help you, and also to recognize that you have to unsheath your sword and fight your way out of situations in ways that a naive person may not think they need to. So I would be far more assertive and dangerous in that regard.
I love it. So, Steve, for the people that are listening, what is the best way for them to reach out and say hi?
They can, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook. They can always leave messages there. They want to send us an email. It's info@aptera.us, and it'll go through all the filters and get to who it needs to get to. But that's the easiest way. Check us out. I think we have got a great PR team who is taking images and videos and things we're doing all the time and posting it and just creating lots of excitement, lots of momentum about what we're doing. And it's good for them to go and check out the visuals and the audio and the video and just see what we're doing, because it's changing all the time.
Amazing. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being on the Deal Maker Show today.
Take a look at what's happening on the website and see what's going on there on Aptera, on the accelerated program. Let's see what's going on. And there we have on the leaderboard. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And usually when I open it the second time, it works. So now we're up to, 196. So we are doing something. We're growing here. This is looking nice. Yes, indeed. That's what we want. So when I checked it yesterday, we were at 183. And now we done jumped up by 13. Oh, good job. I wasn't expecting it to jump up this much, but man, that is nice. So this is really exciting. RP, man, this guy's going to be the man. He's going to get his first. And so that's really, really exciting. And so that really looks good. They're steadily moving along, much faster than the other one. So this was a really good idea. I'm glad that they finally put that together. So if you're new here, once again, I want to thank you and ask that you hit the bell and hit subscribe, hit the like button, and you'll catch all my new videos when they come out. Aptera is going to be a fantastic thing once it hits. Everybody's going to want to jump on board. And all my other patrons out there, you guys know what's coming. Everybody else don't have a clue. But we know, don't we? So yes, y'all keep subscribing, and if you know anybody that may want a new vehicle, Aptera is the way to go if they just want something that they can drive and don't have to worry about putting any extra money into it. Y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.